Hey guys, welcome back to this place. If you are new, welcome here for the very first time. I'm Carmen, and today we are watching season 4, episode 15 of Battlestar Galactica. We are rapidly approaching the end, and I I don't know if I'm more excited or nervous, honestly, because I've been watching this show since longer than a year. I want to say it's been like since 2022 at some point. I mean, towards the end. But yeah, so I have a lot of time invested into this, and I want there to be a good ending. And I get, as you guys saw in the last episode, I get very passionate about this show. I am a little embarrassed about the last episode, I will not lie. I feel like I got a unreasonable level of angry at Gata, and mostly Gata. Zarek, just like, he's annoying, but he's always annoying. Gata, I think it's the fact that I expected better from him that made me so frustrated, because at every single turn I could see him making another choice, him doing the right thing, you know? So I think it was the disappointment that was so frustrating, and the fact that I apparently have no patience when I'm sick, which I do have an ear infection right now, so we'll see how this episode goes. So yeah, last time we had Zarek and Gata face a firing squad for the betrayal, treason, really, that they committed. And I don't know. I'm curious to see how the fleet regroups from this, because obviously they had some supporters, and how they're going to tackle the Cylon issue, how Adama and Roslin are going to address the concerns of the people in a way that will hopefully unite the fleet going forward. Yeah, I'm just curious to see that. I'm curious to see how Gaius is going to come into all of this, and, you know, what his part is in the grand scheme of everything that's happening. So, without any further rambling, let's just get into this episode and see what happens. Sam is holding my hand with his paw, by the way. I love him so much.
You've always been there for me when I need you.
Mm-hmm. Did she know she was a Cylon at that point? I'm just curious. Okay, it is her window. Where is she? I wonder if I'll like Cylon Ellen more than human Ellen. It's very possible.
Thank you. You're very kind.
He whose guile, stirred with revenge.
I'm not gonna go anywhere.
You better
I
rest
want to know what he's saying.
Yes, we've been to that beach. Sometimes Ellen would be there too, because she loved the water.
Ooh. She's not listening.
She loved the water.
She's not listening to him, but he's saying something important if Ty hasn't told them that Ellen is the final one.
I've made vast improvements. You'd be astonished.
And yet you're still the same confused and petulant little boy I loved so dearly all those years ago.
You're gonna need to get your people to go all the way down to the hull to see how far down it goes.
What is it?
I think we have to accept what we are. We accept the title, Chief.
Still a Cylon.
Is that right? So is my XO. Fix my ship, Chief.
Yes, sir, Admiral.
I wonder if that's going to be a unpopular decision.
There's too many layers. Just get the rest of them. Please tell them I remember everything. Earth. Why we're here. Everything. I see everything.
I wonder if she will get the others.
He's teaching me to be a better machine.
to let go of my human constructs.
What about the swirl? Has he taught you that
If you'll
yet?
excuse me, I have some
Swirl.
people to kill.
Why, John, I think you're blushing.
No, it's just the faulty blood pressure of this miserable body you designed for me.
I'm interested. So did the final 5 create the rest of the Cylons?
Organic memory transfer came from Kobo along with the 13th tribe. And it fell out of use after our people started to procreate. We worked night and day to rebuild it. It was Ellen who made the intuitive leap that brought the system back online.
All
and
right,
just...
I said you could have 5 minutes. It's been over half an hour now.
Okay, so he told them some. We still don't really know that much.
I think that you should keep it in mind when you are assembling new representatives.
When I assemble the new
I
representative.
will, of course, remain by title as president, but
She wants you to have the power.
Madam President, I would be honored if you think I'm the right one.
Of course you are.
you are the right one, Lee. You have always been the right one. My only concern about you is you sometimes don't do the smart thing.
I'll try and be smarter and wronger.
And wronger. That's not. Oh.
Frank, me.
Damn.
I'm in here like this.
There's about a dozen bad spots. The length of the ship.
They go. This thing will slam shut like a book. How do you get this bad?
Not like most ships. It's not built to spec. There's lots of places where the skin's too thin and the bolts are just too small.
How do you fix it?
You frickin' telling me they cut corners?
Yeah, they did.
Carlos,
Hey, hey,
just give me a second.
hey. Carlos, it is stop.
Kara, I'm fine. I have to do this. You remember the Demetrius. You know what it is when you have something that you have to do.
He's definitely gonna die.
We developed the 8 humanoid models and we gave them resurrection.
8. You said 8. We're missing someone.
Yeah, he did say 8.
One of your children saw your faces. The one who called herself Deanna. So I just boxed her entire line.
Boxing isn't permanent. Not like number 7. You can undo it.
Number 7.
It's not likely. Do you see the absurdity of what I am? I can't even express these things properly because I have to conceptualize complex ideas in this stupid, limiting spoken language.
Okay. I think that he's experiencing a very human thing of like feeling trapped in who you are.
We gave you something wonderful. Free will to love.
Love. Who would I want to love?
Well, you have loved a couple of humans, different versions of you.
But the humans on Kobol made us.
Go back far enough, it's always them.
Yeah, you point a finger back far enough and some germ gets blamed for splitting in 2? No.
He's
Maybe
not
we
wrong.
share the guilt with the humans, but we don't get to just shove it off onto them.
So when we downloaded into new bodies,
We blocked our access to our books. No. Our memories.
And implanted us with false ones.
Yes.
Set us up like a boomer. Memories that we thought were real.
7 was the Daniel.
you're sure about the word?
Yes.
Daniel.
He died. Daniel died. He was 7.
Okay, take him.
I'm sure.
Someone contaminated the amniotic fluid in which we were maturing all the Daniel copies, and then corrupted the genetic formula. I knew it was John. Envious. Sadistic.
And who made me?
I wonder if it's possible that Daniel is Gaius. Or if he's just completely gone.
I've got a stroke for surgery. I can't wait to see what perfection looks like on the inside.
I don't understand why that 8 is staying with him. Like, he's clearly not, making the best points, in my opinion, I guess. He's seeing the things that he didn't notice before. I mean, they've pushed this ship hard for how many years? 2, 3 now?
There's your boat. Doc plucked it out of there and repaired the artery.
Oh, really?
He's gonna live.
That okay. He's not gonna remember then.
What are you doing?
Forgiving you.
Yes! Yes! 8! 8 made a better choice, right? Yes, 8!
There's almost no brain activity. He doesn't hear you.
Yeah.
He's not in there.
That's what I thought. Brain surgery is so terrifying, honestly. God.
Do whatever you have to do to save our girl.
Yes, sir.
He saw the cracks. It'll make the Galactica like the Cylon ships, though, with the organic and non-organic matter. I really, really liked that episode. As suspected, I really like Cylon Ellen, actually. Like, I find her much preferable to human Ellen. And yeah, I think that it's a really interesting sort of thing that's playing out between Cavill, aka John, and Ellen right now, because what we're seeing, sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to move my hands. What we're seeing is, it kind of feels very much to me like a human lashing out at the idea of like a god or a creator, right? So if anyone has been religious and you're watching this reaction and listening to me, you'll understand the sort of feeling of something horrible happens, or a series of something horribles happen, and you question, like, how could a creator who loves me make me go through these horrible things, even if it's just like anxiety, depression, X, Y, and Z, even if it's not like trauma inflicted upon you by another human, which is also, you know, something that you would question, or somebody you love getting sick, or just feeling like you're inadequate to do the things that you would like to do. I think all of those are very human things of feeling like, why would this creator who is supposed to be like infinitely powerful and infinitely wise and infinitely merciful and, you know, XYZ, like, why would they make me in a way that punishes me because I didn't even ask to be made, right? Sort of situation. So I definitely can understand where Cavill is coming from in his anger and his upset and his lashing out at Ellen. Now, I don't like Cavill as a character. He is very petty, and he's angry, and he has a lot of really, really horrible qualities. Now, I think that this episode also sort of brings in the idea of nature versus nurture a little bit, because Ellen kind of says, like, well, we didn't make you to be this way. Like, you're not evil. Like, we didn't create you to be evil. Your free will is what is making you choose to operate from that place, right? Like, you're choosing these emotions. And I do think that, like, it's complicated, right? Because the idea of free will does, in a way, sort of absolve this idea of a creator of the consequences of the things that people do, right? Like, I gave you free will. What you're choosing to do with that is not on me. However, it's like, but why would you put the ability to create evil, or the ability to be evil or do evil acts in me, if there was never any expectation of any of us doing that? You know, like, shouldn't there just be, like, not any possibility for that if you don't want that to any extent? But then again, you're like, okay, but free will. Free will means the freedom to choose everything, including the bad things. And it's again, I think that's why this is so brilliant, because it's such a complicated sort of thing, and it's so nuanced, and there's so many different sort of tiny sections of it, because I think especially if you grew up with like Judeo-Christian sort of religious ideas, or if you grew up in a household that had those ideas, I think that this definitely, like, the nuance of this is even more intricate. Whereas maybe if you didn't, you might not feel as keenly the nuance of all of these sorts of points. But it's just, it's so well done, because I think that it sort of is reflecting somebody who is having a crisis of faith and actually has the chance to speak to their creator directly and say, like, hey, why did you do these things? And the creator sort of seeing, like, well, I gave you the freedom of choice. What you chose to do with that is what made you hurt. But then, like, could you not just not create the emotion of, like, jealousy or pettiness or X, Y, and Z? And then maybe that wouldn't happen, you know? So, yeah. I really enjoyed all of the scenes with Ellen and Cavill, even though I don't really like Cavill, as you guys know. I say it every chance I get. But I enjoyed the back and forth of those scenes. And I also really liked to see 8, aka Sharon, aka, you know, Boomer, aka Athena, you know who I'm talking about. But I like to see her sort of watching the exchange and then taking it in, and listening to Ellen and sort of being like, you know what, I can see where you're coming from. Because I think that the idea that oh, I lost my train of thought, you guys, sorry. I just like the idea that the show sort of has perpetuated throughout, which is this idea of, is there something inherently good or worthwhile about humanity that makes it worth saving, right? And I think that that's such a valid question. Like, is there something about us that means that our race should survive? And honestly, at the end of the show, it's like, we're close to the end. We still don't really know the answer. Like, I guess we can all create an answer. You're so cute. Look at those little toes stretching. Oh, you can't see. He's stretching his little toes. But I guess we can all create an answer for ourselves on what we think based off of our individual moralities, you know? Which I think is what makes the show so fascinating, because everybody who's watching it, we're all coming into this show with our own morals, our own ideas, our own life experiences, and all of those things are shaping the way that we view the story, the characters, in a way that makes the way that I view humanity or Starbuck or X, Y, and Z as so different from the way other people view it, because because, sorry, my ADHD is kicking in today. What the fuck am I even saying? I honestly got so distracted. We all have different ideas about different things as we interpret them, because art is subjective. television is art, and all of the baggage of being alive that I come into this show with is going to be different than all of the baggage of being alive that you come into the show with, or X, Y, and Z person comes into the show with. And I think that that's what makes it so fun to watch, because I don't think that I'm ever inherently right about something or necessarily inherently wrong, unless I'm just like speaking from like a moral perspective, right? Because we all have different moralities, yeah? Like, I think that there are things that are inherently good or inherently bad, but even those things can be the other in the right circumstances, right? Like, murder is inherently bad. Like, it's not good to kill people. Like, you know, that's clearly something we can all agree on. Like, murder is horrific and like just unfathomably horrible. However, like, are there situations where killing one person is the greater good because that person is going to enact or has enacted horrific things and continues or plans to continue doing that? Yes. So, you know, I think that the nuance of certain things like that is interesting. Also, what the fuck am I talking about? You guys, am I just rambling? Have I talked about this episode? Yeah, I think I have. Anyway, sorry, to get off of that soapbox, let's talk about Tyrell and the ship and Adama and being chief, all that stuff. So I think that, one, I wonder if Adama will face backlash for making Tyrell chief again, because people are very much anti-Cylon, as we know. And I'm curious if he will let people know about what he has authorized Tyrell to do and what the reaction to that would be if he did. Because I'm guessing making their ship essentially the same as a giant Cylon ship is not going to go over well, right? Because we know all of the Cylon ships, like the Raptors, the base ship, I assume. The base ship we've seen. And like any other Cylon ships, they all have organic matter with the metal. So the fact that sure, it makes the ship stronger. Sure, it might be their only hope of survival. But will that be popular? I'm going to doubt it, you know? Also, we had Anders in this episode telling Kara and Ty and Tori and Tyrell about the just their history. Now, I would probably have to watch this a few more times to actually fully understand the chain of events that he said, because I was trying to keep up, and I don't know if my brain is slow today or it's just like the jumping around was a bit confusing. But from what I understand, the humans made the Centaurians, who made the Final Five, who made the skin jobs, as they call them, but who made the Final Five? The Final Five made Cavill. Yeah, I don't know. You guys can let me know in the comments below if there's an easier way than the kind of jumble. Like, I feel like they explained it well. It's just, it was between all these other scenes, and I was trying to keep up with everything all at once, and I don't think I did the best job of it. We also had the revelation of an 8th skin job, which would be Daniel, who we have not heard anything else about. However, it was heavily implied that, well, stated that Cavill permanently got rid of Daniel. So I don't think that my guess that he could be Gaius really works, but I am curious if we'll ever see this Daniel and we'll get to know anything more about him. Also, we still have no idea what is up with Kara. Like, genuinely just no clue. I assume at some point we'll find out. We're rapidly approaching the end, so we have to, in the next like 5 episodes and a movie, you know, which is wild to think there's only 5 episodes left of this show. I don't know how I feel about that, you guys. I trust that they'll be able to wrap it up, especially because they have the movie, which is almost 2 hours, and everything. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna wrap it up, and that stresses me out a little. I'm not gonna lie. I thought that the new intro in this episode was cool. It was not what I was expecting. I just expected the regular intro, and so I was like, what's happening? What are they talking about? I'm curious to see where Ellen and Sharon are going to go, hopefully to the fleet. I can't really imagine where else they would go aside from the fleet, so that's going to be interesting to see. The reunion of Ty and Ellen is going to be interesting for his relationship with the Six and, her pregnancy. Like, that obviously changes things because Ellen doesn't know about that, and they don't know about the fact that Cylons can, at least with the final 5, have the ability to procreate. So that's interesting. I'm purposefully glossing over the fact that I'm pretty sure that Anders is effectively dead now, because I just think that's really sad. And also I just I don't know, I have this real fear of like head surgery and stuff. My dad has had multiple strokes, so like brain stuff is just kind of like a touchy subject for me. Yeah. So I kind of don't want to talk about Sam. It's very sad. And I knew that was going to happen. I thought he was dead in the last episode. He's effectively dead now, but maybe Ellen can save him. I don't know how. I thought it was interesting that Ellen said, I named you after my father, or I named it after my father. Talking about his name being John, right? Which John is also my dad's name, so it's quite common. But I wonder if that's supposed to like be an allusion to anything that I'm just not getting, or if it's just because it's like a very common name. I don't know. Also, I think it's really interesting that Cavill's sort of idea was that he wanted justice for the Centaurians that had been enslaved, which makes sense, honestly. Like, I've said that this whole time. Like, it makes sense that they want to fight back. However, it's also interesting that he purports himself to be the perfect machine, yet wants justice for the Centaurians, which is a very human emotion, which is, usually coinciding with the emotion of anger and hurt, so yeah. It's also interesting that Ellen referred to them as my children. Is that because the final 5 did they create? See, this is where I'm getting confused, because she said that they created Cavill and Daniel. And so did they also create like Simon and Doral and Six and, you know, Sharon and them? Or did the Centaurians create them? Because I thought that Anders said that the Centaurians created them. So again, just a little bit of confusion on my part that, like I said, you guys can clear up. If you know the answer. What? I mean, you know the answer, but I'm gonna watch the movie right after this, so I was like thinking like, oh, maybe that will clear it up for me, and then by the time that you comment, then I'll already know. But just let me know anyway, because I probably still won't know. Oh, I almost forgot. I absolutely loved the Rosalind and Lee scene in this episode. I think that Lee will make a really good president. And I'm proud of him, and I want to see it. And that's all I'm going to say, because I don't know why I'm so emotional today. Whew. Also, I'm really curious if what Anders was referring to when he said, make Ty stay with the fleet. And something about the miracle, if he is referring to the baby that Ty is having with Six. Is that the miracle? Is that why he needs to stay with the fleet? Or is some other miracle going to happen? You know? Also, what is Kara? Because we still don't know that. We still don't know that. We have been so curious for so long. I'm sure they'll answer it soon. Please don't tell me. But just like, I can't help but sit here and be like, what the fuck is Kara? You know? I think that that's all that I really have to say about this episode. Hopefully you can decipher some of my rambling. I just thought, TLDR for you guys, that the religious aspect of this episode as it relates to someone who was created and a creator, or the idea of that, was really interesting. And to see that conversation take place when I think a lot of us who have religious backgrounds have sort of had that exact conversation, although, you know, kind of to thin air, can relate, right? Like, I think a lot of us would like to actually be able to converse with a creator and get solid answers. I don't know. Anyway, I'm just rambling at this point. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, if you want, you can like, comment, and subscribe if you aren't already. You can also watch the next episode right now over on Patreon if you're watching this on YouTube, which is actually the movie. So have fun with that. Yeah, and you can also watch just every single thing I've reacted to of Battlestar Galactica up to this point. That is over on Patreon as well, which is linked in the description down below. So go over and check it out if you want. We're also rapidly approaching a new poll show, because once Battlestar is over, we got to start watching something else, you know? So if you want to be involved in the decision-making process for what that will be, then you should go ahead and head over there. It is it's the lowest tier, only $1 to be able to vote in the poll and have your voice heard. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna go watch the movie. Maybe I'll make popcorn. Anyway, that's my cue to leave. Until next time. Bye, guys.